Hi guys, Dan here. Today I have a Husqvarna 1130 machine and a couple of problems with it that I want to show you. This is a pretty standard machine for AYP. It's sold as a Poulan Pro as well. It's all black. All the controls, handles are the same, wheels are the same, the lockouts are the same on the tires. A couple things. One of the first things I see on these a lot are the pins get broken out. So the auger runs, but the impeller doesn't throw snow. Usually they use a 1/4 bolt in there, so I put a couple of grade 8s in there and snug it up, solve that problem. This machine also has a couple of drift cutters on it. I discourage people from using these because I've seen so many people get hurt on them. They're not worth a shit anyway, so I usually take them off and give them back to the customer. So November 2005. First thing on this machine I don't like are the controls. The drive forward and reverse is on the right hand side, and the center joystick is for the chute, and the left joystick is for the tip. It's just an oddball configuration. Nobody else uses the same controls, and I just could never get used to it. This one also has the lockout for the rear wheel, or for the wheels, which is nice if you want to pivot the machine. It does help you turn it. This machine is obviously from Blows. So okay, first thing I want to show you here is a problem I see all the time. These belts usually hold out pretty well, but after 10 years they tend to crack. So first thing here is a broken belt. The second problem I found with this machine, and more serious problem, is that it doesn't throw well. So if you look at the idler arm and this little lever that pushes over on the idler arm for the auger belt, that arm tends to crack, and what happens is the arm just bends and doesn't push the idler pulley over hard enough to throw snow properly. So usually when I get these machines in, I check them, and if I have the time, I'll split the machine and take that entire arm assembly out and either TIG it up or MIG it up and make it a little bit stronger, or add a little piece of steel to the back of it and weld it up, just so I know it's going to go back and it'll work for the life of the machine. So here I'm taking off the auger engagement lever. That's a keyed shaft, and what I'm going to do is loosen the idler assembly up front here and take the entire shaft out. Just take the two 5/16 18 bolts off of this thing, and then just take that whole assembly out. You can see we pull the shaft out, and when you pull that shaft out, there is a little spring washer or a flat washer on the inside of the case. It usually falls out. A lot of times you don't see it. I'm just pointing it out here. This one's a flat. A lot of times it's a spring. I honestly don't think it matters much, but that's how it came apart. So if you look at the lever on the end of the shaft, you can see that it's not too thick. It's probably an 1/8 inch thick, maybe a little bit more. But when they weld it, they just weld these two tiny little drops of weld on there, and they tend to break. Even the new part, I've ordered the part new. The new part is still poor quality. So I usually take them out and grind them up and throw a little extra steel or some weld on them. So quick break here. I picked up this Birking grinder from a local machine shop. A guy bought it for a job, and he wasn't going to use it in that job, so he stopped and never used it. So instead of me buying it new, I actually purchased this from him. It's got a 1 horsepower single phase motor on it. It takes a ton of material off. It's a really solid grinder. I got the stand with it as well. So here I'm just using it. I've only had it about a week, so I figured I'd put it to a little use. Just taking off the yellow chromate and cleaning it up a little bit for some welds. So here you can see I've cleaned it up a little bit, and it's an oddball piece, and doesn't really make itself easily ground with a belt grinder, so I'll hit that inside stuff with a whizzer wheel or file or something. So here I took a piece of shave plate from an MTD machine I had this week, and I took it and ground it up on the belt grinder and ground it into a little piece here. You see I've got it clamped up against it with vice grips, and I'm just going to hit it with a Meg. So here's the piece finished. I threw a little black paint on it. My MIG welder ran out of argon, so not the greatest weld. I just cleaned it up a little bit on the thing, but it'll suffice. Not my best work, but is what it is. So I put a little clip on the end as well. It was missing that. So next thing I'm going to look at on this machine is the auger pulley, and since the lever actually wasn't cracked, I said, geez, why is this thing not throwing well? And it turns out, like I've seen in the past on this same exact machine style, there's a problem with the bearing. So I pulled the impeller pulley off, and lo and behold, the bearing is there. It's not worn. The bracket is there, but the bolts are missing that hold it on. There's a little star bolts that hold it on from the other side, and now that it's been through a couple of winters, the bearing is rusted to the shaft, so it kind of stayed in place. But the reason that thing was moving around is because there's no bolts on it. So the flange bolts are too big. I put a couple of self-lock nuts on here. I think they're grade 8s, and just snugged them up, and it'll hold for sure. So that should solve our throwing problem. And put a little never seize on it, put the pulley back on, and now I'm going to reassemble the machine. So once I get the pulley back on here and I snug the nut down, I will put the machine back together with a new belt and set the tension on that arm and adjust the spring on the handle to make sure I have a little bit of pull. That spring should stretch out a little bit, but looks good now. I didn't have time to finish the assembly and show it to you on camera, but thanks for watching.